Buddhist Society. Lovely. Well, my name is Angela, and I've been a student here for 23 years and a volunteer as well. The introductory series ranges from looking at simple things of daily life and why we behave that way, what causes us to behave in certain levels with other people, to the very extreme where it talks about selflessness. So the introductory series divided into four weeks. I'm doing the third of the fourth week. Venerable Anna Goldstein's doing the remaining 4 weeks in term 4. So we're up to the stage of karma this week. So most of you have heard the term karma. It's now in the dictionary. And we're going to go through it. Why is it certain? Why is karma so certain? And why does it increase? And what are the term that means no result, no causes? And does karma have a timeline? Is there a duration to karma? What are the 10 virtues and what are the 10 non-virtues? And when does a karma complete? So you may have an intention to do something, but if that intention is not complete, there are certain conditions in it, then you don't generate the imprints that we call from that karma. And how does regret fit into this? You know, we all wish to improve and treat others well. So where does that regret come into the actual process of karma? And finally, pure morality. Pure morality is the basis of all realizations and the causes of higher rebirth. So just to backtrack a bit, that a lot of the religious affiliations assert that there's only one life, and that one life culminates in a rebirth, depending on when or how they've lived that life. That rebirth, that one rebirth, can go to a pure realm, what we call a heaven, or it can go to a hell. So whether the rebirth is in heaven or hell, that rebirth, that one rebirth is eternal. Whereas in Buddhism, we assert that we have a continuity of lifetimes and multiple rebirths over eons and eons of life. And those rebirths are not eternal. Those rebirths can go from a higher realm to a lower realm to a human realm. And when you're even born in the human realm, there are conditions that we have that make the human realm not very pleasant from various conditions and illnesses and so forth. Well, basically karma, from the Buddhist perspective, karma does include the continuity of lifetimes. It explains why things happen in this life that you may have you've done nothing to actually generate that result, but it happens. So in terms of compassion and bodhicitta teachings, which are very much a very important part of the Buddhist path and training and behavior, the teachings on karma are more of a personal journey. So it's not something that you want to go and tell a person who's very sick and dying. It's more of an internal journey for you, an internal self-awareness. And as the Buddha always said, don't take my teachings because I'm the Buddha. You investigate and you look into each subject and carefully, and if it doesn't fit, don't apply it. Simple. But investigate it thoroughly. So when we talk about the Buddhist teachings, we do include in a lot of cases the rebirth theory and the rebirths in higher and lower realms. So karma teachings are very, very precise. If we look at the results of our lives, we look at how when we're happy and when we're sad, and karma identifies as the causes. And this is probably one of the most significant things about the Buddhist teachings. It actually provides the answers as to why. So when we have the why, the causes, then we can change. So if we know we want to achieve this in our lives, but through the teachings of karma, it shows that we're going in the wrong direction, then we can apply the learnings and then make changes. So sometimes knowing the causes for strong karma, for example, you become peaceful and relaxed. So if you're spending so much effort into trying to get a result, a business, grow it and so forth, and you've done everything in your power, you've gone to get marketing advice, you've gone and got your business degree, you're hiring the right people, you're networking, you're researching on how to grow the business, but it's just not. Apart from the financial aspect, it gives you an answer to, oh, that's why. And then you relax. You relax and you start looking or bringing the energy internal. Because when we're constantly putting energy and resources into something that's not producing a result, it's exhausting. So when you look at more deeply into karma and the results of karma, you're able to bring all the energy internally and then practice and think and reflect and understand what you can do differently to get the results. So it's a bit like a dam with many holes, and it's leaking out, and it's quite tall, and there's a village down the stream, and you're trying to put all the holes together, and all these concrete things are falling off you because the dam is breaking. And then you realize this is not really going to help. I can't plug all the holes. So you leave for higher ground, warn everyone with a much better result. That's how significant the understanding of karma can be in our lives. So effort focused on actions to produce more fruitful results for yourself and others. You use your energy and time very wisely. I'll tell you a story that occurred. Well, this is a true story where years ago there was a group of students that had just received training on karma. They received the first part of the training, which is the causes. And they were walking with their teacher along the banks of a river, and they saw a man with his precious goat strapped on his back. The man was walking. Another story comes from Paying the Kindness Sutras. And some of you may know that when the Buddha attained enlightenment, he saw all his previous lives. And this story comes from one of those previous lives. So it was when the Buddha, in the form or body that he was in prior to his enlightenment, he was in the hell realms pulling a chariot. There was another being in the hell realms with him, and you can imagine the hell realms hot and dusty, but this other being was very weak and could not pull the chariot. And on top of the chariot was a yama. A yama is like a devilish god, but they're the protector of those of past. And this yama was very annoyed with the fact that this other being that was pulling the chariot, okay, sorry, Tanina, you can't hear me. It's all right. It's okay. So the Yama was very, very annoyed with the fact that this other being couldn't have the strength to pull the chariot. So he got his trident and stabbed that being in the chest. The Buddha, in that past form, was struck with an enormous amount of compassion and said to the Yama, "Please leave this being alone. Put the rope on my neck and I will pull the chariot." And of course the Yama, with his being challenged with his authority, took his trident and stabbed the Buddha in his past body right through the chest. And as a result, because of that one kind action, the Buddha in his past form was reborn into the 33 Deva realms. So this story is to understand that bodhicitta is so powerful. In that 1 second, you can be liberated from heavy suffering and heavy negative karma. And for those that may be unfamiliar with bodhicitta, it simply means that to achieve perfect enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. So whatever you achieve in life, the outcome is to help others. It's a very noble and precious state of mind that changes your whole being, in that every action that you do is mindful of the impact that you have on others. It's an enormously beautiful, gracious mind that is aware of every word spoken and every action taken. So Shantideva says in Engaging the Bodhisattva Ways that the one who has created inexhaustible, powerful negative karma, then by relying upon bodhicitta, you get liberated with a short time. So why not rely on bodhicitta? So karma fits into, or the explanation of karma fits into the second noble truth. The first noble truth is true suffering, acknowledging that suffering exists. The second noble truth is true causes, and this is where karma fits in beautifully and snugly. The third noble truth is true cessation, which we'll talk about next week. And the fourth noble truth is true path. So karma is within the true causes and then moves into the true path of liberating yourself. So what is karma? Karma means action. It covers actions, an imprint made on the mind from actions motivated by delusions and results of those actions. So the action needs to be motivated by delusion, which is hate, anger, or ignorance, and then imprinted on the mind. If you look at, I'll just show you a piece of paper what the mind is. It may help you. Our mind is clear and knowing, unblemished, untainted, uncontaminated. As we produce karma, we start to place imprints on our mental continuum, on our mind, on our consciousness. And those imprints will stay until they are ripened. So this is just an example. And as we purify, it's like we take an eraser and we keep erasing them. But if we don't purify them, they will always be on our mental continuum and ripen at some time in the future where it meets the appropriate conditions, and the action, the result will occur. There are people who are predominantly very patient all their lives. They've had a lot of challenges. They work with unusual people and challenging people. They've been very, very patient. They meet somebody new and they continue with that patience, that mental state of mind in their being. But there's something happens between that person and that individual who's that patient individual, where they may erupt in total anger. And that total anger against that person shocks the patient person because they've never behaved that way before, and they can't understand why they were angry at this person. Well, the Buddha explains that it is the mind. It is that stain, that contamination on our mental continuum, which is being created probably many, many lifetimes ago, eons and eons and eons of lifetime ago, that now has met the condition, the form of somebody who may carry different karma. The two meet and the result occurs. But does that mean that that patient person is bad or is going to get punished for it? No. the mind is constantly changing and moving. It does not mean that that person has lost everything that they've worked for in that particular lifetime. Regret is something very, very powerful, and such a patient person will be most regretful. But it's that constant moving of the contents of our mind that demonstrates how one moment we can be happy, another we can be sad, and anger may occur. So the law of karma is cause and effect, and it leads to a production of a certain future result and that action. So everything that we are doing under the force of karma before we're liberated is an action, and it's produced. The Buddhists believe in 4 seals of Buddhism, that all products are impermanent. So under the force of karma, we've created these products on our mental continuum, but they are impermanent because they are not in accord with the true reality. Our mind is clear and knowing. All the adventitious defilements, all the karmic imprints are transitory. They can be removed because they are not in accord with reality, the clarity and purity of our mind. Once we know that, it is the first step to liberation. So the 4 seals that all products are impermanent, all contaminated things are miserable. So when we create imprints onto our mind, we contaminate our pure nature of mind temporarily. And all phenomena is selfless. Nirvana is peace. In terms of selflessness, we'll talk about that next week. It's in its entirety. So by understanding karmic causes, we can change the trajectory of our future lives. So we go along, so we understand that in the present, we wish to attain happiness and all the causes of happiness. We want our family and friends, we want the world to be happy. So we can go into the past to understand, and we can't remember our past lives because, or reincarnation, because we're adults. There's no matter how many institutions there may be out there to try and tap into your past life, and it's not something that we know very easily. So we're doing this on faith to some degree, that we have had past lives. And investigate it yourself. Have you had past life? Have you had experiences where you've come across a particular training and you realize, oh, you know all this without even studying? Have you seen children that go on the piano and can play the most amazing sonatas from their past lives? There was a person I worked with that never had any business training, but she was very, very good at generating business. And she kept saying and laughing that it's probably a past life, probably a past life. But she was just such a natural at it. Some people say when they learn a task or a skill that there's this familiarity about it. There are children that speak of past lives, and His Holiness Dalai Lama said, if anyone can prove to me that there's no past lives, then he'll give it up. He won't talk about past lives. So it's really up to you to investigate and know thoroughly. So in the Western world, we think that karma only relates to the one single life. So karma is in the dictionary now. So karma, and then some people who understand karma might not have the personality to retaliate against that person, but secretly will say, oh, I hope karma gets them. So karma pretty much is in the Western world, but our conception is wrong. We also see in the Western world that karma is created by a separate object. And in Buddhism, we talk about our words that we use as subject-object, meaning that any human being, any person, in terms of understanding Buddhism, is a subject. And anything that I see, like the cushion on the carpet there, is an object. I perceive it as an object. In reality, in selflessness teaching, that particular cushion is appearing from my karmic imprints, and it is not detached and separate from me. So we see things that happen around us, happen to us, as objects that are separate and inherently existent by their own side. That's what generates this anger and all this emotion that comes up. How dare you do that to me? How come you treat me like this? I was really good and this is what happened. So when you talk in those words and those tones, it simply means that you see the object as separate. And what the Buddha says is that everything appears as part of the reflections of our mind. When there's first an intellectual understanding of that and trying to reason, and we'll go into that in more detail next week. But when through meditation, it really starts to have some meaning within your whole body and your whole mind, it takes the pressure off, the fuel, so to speak, because now that you've thought of the possibility or embodied it, the reaction may not be as quick. So you may sit with it and think about it. Because if something's a part of you, you won't hurt yourself. And if you've created the imprints and the conditions from past lives when this appears, well, then it's a part of you. And this is the most challenging but easiest thing to accept in the Buddhist practice. That everything is a reflection of our mind. So why is karma certain? Because karma is the creator of both good and bad, happiness and suffering. Karma generated by virtuous minds as love, compassion, patience and generosity will only bring happiness and never the source of suffering. Conversely, karma is generated by such negative minds as anger, attachment, will bring significant suffering. And all good conditions like wealth, health, beauty, and happiness are experienced only in accordance with having created the positive karma. And any sickness, pain, tension, and fear, even a moment of suffering in a dream, has negative karma as its source. So right now you might be asking the question that how do we relate to someone who is suffering? Well, there are a lot of doctors and nurses and allied health staff and support staff and mental health that are Buddhists. So what they do, they don't impose and look at the person who's ill and with a thought of mind that it's their karmic appearance and do nothing, like the students who watched the man in the river drown with a goat on his back. Once understood but never forgotten and revised intermittently, karma sits out there. When we interact with people, pardon me, we interact with love, compassion, goodwill, trying to relieve their suffering, being present with people. That's the true path. And you don't teach them karma. So Nagarjuna said in a precious garland of advice to a king that from virtue arises all suffering and every lower realm, from virtue the happiness of all lifetimes and all higher realms. So why does karma increase? Karma increases because we don't purify and our habits increase all the time. So if we are prone to gossiping, if we don't look at gossiping and the results of gossiping, then our tendency to continue gossiping will occur not only this lifetime, but will be the cause of a result in future lives. So it just builds and builds and builds. So a seemingly insignificant positive karma will bring a great result, a deal of happiness and so forth. So that's the karmic law, the law of karma. As Dharma Tratta said in his Buddha's sayings, even by creating small non-virtues, great suffering arises in pure lives. A great destruction is caused by a small drop of poison in your system. So we're going to look at virtues and non-virtues in detail, and then followed by a very relaxing meditation. This is a lot to handle. So I think what we might do is we might have a little brief 10-minute meditation first, and then we'll go into the more detailed teachings of karma. So would you like to find yourself in a comfortable position? May have a blanket, that's a good idea. All right. So find yourself in a comfortable position with your back straight. If you're hearing this and in a hospital, you can be lying on a bed. The back is straight to allow the energies to rise and fall naturally, and also to keep one's mind alert. And during this meditation, if you feel any tension on your limbs, just release that tension, move your limbs in order for you to relax. So we'll commence by undertaking a body scan to look at the places where we may hold tension the most. So you gather the mind to the crown, the top of your head, and as we're going down, we check for tightness on the forehead, the back of the head, down to the eyes. Notice any tightness or knots in the eyes. Allow them to become soft, down the facial muscles, to the jaw, down to the neck, shoulders, arms, the back. And going down to the arms, we feel our hands, left hand, right hand, becoming soft, pliant, relaxed. Down to our tummy, legs, knees, ankles and feet. The body's working as one, the energies flowing, moving upwards and down. So we gather the mind now to the breathing. To where you feel the breath the most, the tip of the nostrils or the back of the throat, or even the rising and falling of the chest. Gather your mind there. And feel the depth of the intake of breath And feel the difference when you exhale. When you inhale, imagine inhaling fresh, cool air from the Himalayas. And then with every out-breath, breathe out all concerns, worries, release them and bring the mind back to the breath. And if there are thoughts that come into the space of your mind, see it as a distraction and bring the mind back to the breath. Thoughts will come and thoughts will go. Bring that mind to the breath, and you may start to feel a sense of peace, a calmness, a groundedness. And if thoughts persist, you can direct the mind with a voice that says, I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out, with repetitions. As you begin to feel that sense of peace and tranquility, and with every intake of breath, you fill your body with the breath. And exhale. And you feel every cell in your body with the breath. And breathing out. And in that groundedness and lightness, you may feel a weightlessness. And the breath within the body purifies every cell, purifies the mind, consciousness. And your whole body now is in the nature of light. And your consciousness is clear and knowing. The clear and knowing knowledge of happiness and the causes of happiness. The clear knowing perception of how to help others that benefits them. And in that pure nature of light comes the awareness of every sentient being on this planet. And just in one moment, in 1 second, allow ourselves to be connected with everyone, everything, every being with a consciousness. And you have the power and the energy to give happiness to others through your clear light nature of mind and consciousness. Such is the strength of you, your being and clear light nature mind, pervading all phenomena. And in that 1 second, that 1 moment of being connected, imagining being connected, that joy and happiness, just for that 1 second, that 1 moment in time, is it like to be connected? What is it like to know what is it like to be with one and one with all? So gently, gently now bring the image back to you, back to your heart. And then you feel the cushion, the blanket, the noises in this temple, the wind, temperature, the seat. So bring it back into this room. Feel the breath. Rising and falling of the breath. So ending this meditation, when you are ready, you may gently open your eyes. So going back to karma, sometimes people may ask, why do people survive accidents and others don't? So if the cause has not been created, the result will not be experienced. There is no effect without cause, no result without its causal action. An example is an aeroplane crashes and all the passengers but one are killed. That one person did not carry the cause to be killed at that time, whereas the others did. Another example is soldiers at war can be wounded severely but recover and remain alive for years. Other soldiers' wounds are not so severe, yet they die quickly. You may be surrounded by all manner of bad conditions and dangers, but if you do not carry the cause to be affected by them, the negative results will not be experienced. Some people put a lot of effort into generating business and wealth, but never seem to make all measures and all finances and all commitments meet. The lack is not a lack of aspiration or effort, it is that they just don't have the karma to be successful. In family, you may have large families where one child is successful, another suffers from severe depression, all genetically from the same parents, but different karmas. There's also group karma, where some countries have got plenty of food, while other countries not enough to feed all their population. Global warming is a huge, huge group karma affecting the human population. And they're the cause because of some actions creating huge results for our planet. With Buddhism, because we have rebirths, we're going to be born back, if we're lucky, into this earth, this planet, so we don't escape global warming. Some people say, oh, once they pass away and go to heaven, they don't have to worry about global warming anymore. So is there a time limit on when karma ripens? Well, we don't know when it will ripen, but what we do know is that once it's imprinted on the mind, it remains forever there. It's never lost until it ripens. It may take many, many lifetimes and even millions of years, but it remains dormant until it meets the right conditions that triggers the result, like that woman who for no apparent reason got very angry at a person she didn't know well. So now to the 10 non-virtues. And this is where you see a huge, brilliant light at the end of the tunnel. So the Buddha very clearly taught on what the 10 non-virtues are. Further down, we're going to talk about the 10 virtues. So the first non-virtue is killing. Some people believe that killing animals and insects is acceptable. Well, this is a serious misconception according to the Buddha, because animals value their lives just as much as we do. And the pain they experience by losing the very thing that they value, their life, creates an enormous amount of negative karma. Stealing. Stealing is something of value that belongs to another. A worthless thing like a rock or a piece of leaf or rubbish, it doesn't have the value. Sexual misconduct is the object is any living being for the ordained, and for a lay person it is somebody else's partner. Some students debate whether flirting with somebody else's partner is a form of sexual misconduct, or that isn't when we go down and look at why when the karma is complete, but it is the seed for potential sexual misconduct. Lying, when somebody's able to understand you and there's a full intention to deceive, and subtly, the seed of that is withholding information as well. So you just present the good bits and not the bad bits. Things like in our Western society, how that it translates is that there's a Trades Practices Act. There's many acts, the ACCC and so forth, but in the Trades Practices Act, it's called unconscionable conduct, where in order to obtain a sale, you behave and provide the wrong information. So a lot of foundations are around, but that particular act does not govern what we do when we interact with people in a social setting. Divisive speech. It's a state of mind in which you fully intend to cause disunity between people and communities. So you deliberately cause disharmony because you love it, because that's the way that you control people. And you get so much joy from seeing people run and get flustered and angry and fighting with each other. That's the imprint. And people like that in this world exist. Maybe not as open and flamboyant as some, but they can do it very subtly. Harsh speech towards any living being that can be hurt by what you say. It generally refers to humans. Idle gossip. The object is something meaningless and unimportant which you treat as significant and important and meaningful. A state of mind in which you fully intend to gossip and indulge in idle talk. When you look at gossiping and really analyze gossiping, it's like a taste and a hunger. Somebody's got some news and they come back to taste it. They've got to eat it and taste it because it really is nourishing for them. They've got to do it. They can't help themselves. They go and they hear something, they go tell somebody else. That's the nature and the physical form of the imprint of tasting the gossiping and eating the gossiping where it nourishes you. It's a very strong imprint. Covetousness, which is greed and envy. The object is anything belonging to somebody else, be it a possession or an internal quality. An internal quality takes much more subtle thought, because if somebody has a gift and you're greedy, you're envious of that gift, one action is that you try and destroy it or discredit it. Malice, hate and nastiness. The object is a living being who would be hurt if your harmful thought were acted out. And then wrong views. The wrong views is that you deny cause and effect. No, if I do this, I'm not going to be punished for it, or you might influence others to do it too. Come on, let's rob a bank. We'll get away with it. Don't worry about it. Let's tease somebody. Let's bully somebody because it's going to, it's a fun thing to do. Let's put things on Facebook or social media and really lash out that there are no consequences, which there are. So what completes a causal action where you cannot undo it? Because as we know, we're about to do something, about to think it, we're going to act on it, but there's a point of no return. And the point of no return, once you pass it, you need to purify. And one of the greatest purifications is bodhicitta. Regret comes first. You think, oh, shame, probably embarrassment. That, in the Buddhist terms, Buddhist teaching, is a virtuous state of mind. When you're embarrassed or you're shamed, have shame for doing that particular actions, having said those words, regret, they're the states of mind that require cultivating. So there needs to be an intention, that you need to see clearly what you're doing. So it's very similar to the courts that determine a sentence when somebody's, just say, tried for murder. Was there premeditation? So it's similar to premeditation. You know what you're doing, you're sound mind and body, and you act and you complete it. So let's have a quick look at how the karma is complete. Killing, you intend to kill, or you may ask somebody else to kill for you, like you might be a head of a country where you send soldiers out into war. So you generate and have the karma of the killing that occurs, and also the karma for asking people to do that on your behalf. When you see the people die, when you know the people have died, and that you don't die before them. So if you've asked soldiers to go in and massacre a particular outpost, which has got weapons of mass destruction, if before they carried out that particular massacre, you die and you don't get to see it, well, you don't accrue the karma. Also, if you eat a banana and throw the peel on the ground and walk in your merry way to your destination, and 5 minutes later somebody walks past and slips on the banana and they hit their head and die, there was no intention for that action to occur, so you do not accrue the karma. You don't have the imprint. Stealing is when you pick up something that is not yours, you know it's stealing, and you have a satisfaction. Some sort of feeling about, oh, this is good. Like you might walk past a house which has got something really, a package, a delivery that looks really interesting. So you take it. And you feel satisfied. And if you wish to cheat on your tax and you ask your solicitor or your tax consultant to do it, you are also get the karma for the action of asking that person to do it. So lying is a full intention to deceive, and the karma is complete when the person believes your lie. Divisive speech is intended to cause disunity, and the karma is complete when other parties believe what you tell them. In harsh speech, you intend to speak harsh or abusive, and you hurt others. But the interesting bit is if you want to harm somebody through your speech that you've not met, and the name is Bill, and you go there to tell them off because they've done something to your family member, but you tell Bob off instead, well, then the karma's not complete because there's a mistaken identity. Idle gossip, it's when you've spoken the words, so there's no going back on that one. Covetousness, greed and envy, the final decision to get the other's possession for yourself. So once you think, I'm going to take it, then the karma's complete. Malice is wishing to harm, increases when you decide to harm. So when that decision is that you decide to harm, then the imprint happens. And the wrong views, of course, when you contradict the Buddha's teachings. So what causes a karma to be heavier than others? There's the degree and duration of how long you're doing it, from the intention, how much you wish to harm, the means by which you do that. So in killing, for example, the degree of suffering that you cause another human being or an animal is determined on the heaviness of the karma. In some cultures, it's quite a delicacy to eat live squids or live animals. It really is. And you see videos of them eating a squid when it's still alive and its tentacles are moving, or throwing a lobster into hot water. The degree of suffering that you cause that person, or from a human side, a serial killer slowly killing people, allowing them to suffer, is the heaviness of the karma. And of course, the karma gets heavy because we don't purify it. So let's look at the result of negative karma. One of the things that we do go into the first result is we go into the lower realm. Once the karma is exhausted, we go back to the human rebirth. But as we talked about last week, it's the perfect human rebirth is leisure and fortune. The ultimate rebirth is being born in a pure land where we can continue teaching and then return to the human realm. But if we're born into the human realm, we'll have conditions and environmental effects. So the result of killing is that the rebirth in a human realm with a short life and considerable ill health and disease. You will have many troubles and no success in your activities. Stealing, the result is a lack of wealth and resource. If you gain things, they are stolen from you, borrowed or lost. Sexual misconduct is unable to stay in relationships and being quickly separated from spouses, friends, family and workers. Lying, others not believing whether you are telling the truth or not. Divisive speech, being lonely and having few friends, followers or workers, you find it difficult to develop smooth relationships. Harsh speech, others being abusive towards you and speaking badly about you. Even when you try to be pleasant, others will interpret it as being negative. Idle gossip, others do not take your speech seriously or listen to anything that you say. Another dimension in the Western world is people just don't trust you. Because if you gossip about other people, what are they going to think? Oh dear, they're going to gossip about me and say bad things about me. So you're very careful in how you interact with that person. Covet, and I can't say this word, probably for a good reason, greed and envy, not achieving your wishes and never getting what you want. Malice, unfounded fear and panicking very easily, and wrong views, having stubborn ignorance and finding it difficult to gain realizations and develop your understanding. So let's look at virtuous actions. Well, by default, the virtuous actions are the opposite of the non-virtuous actions. So avoiding killing, avoiding stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, divisive speech, harsh speech, idle gossip, covetousness, malice and wrong views. So the causes of that is by avoiding killing, you are actually opposing killing. By abandoning stealing, you have a virtuous body. Same with sexual misconduct, you have a virtuous body. Abandoning negative actions of speech, you have a virtuous speech. Abandoning lying, you speak honestly with a good motivation and the firm intention not to lead others astray. Divisive speech, the cause more friendship, harmony, reconciliation and good relationships. When you abandon harsh speech, you have good speech, having soft, gentle, pleasing, and practicing rather than criticizing or praising. By being polite, your speech calms others and makes them happy. Gossiping, you have happiness and benefit others. By abandoning the three non-virtues, you actually have or are closer to having a more pure mind and pure morality. So when you abandon covetousness, you have little desire and you have more contentment. When you abandon malice, You look at everyone through the eyes of love and compassion with the intention to protect and help them. It's a lot to handle. But hang in there. So what's pure morality? Pure morality is practicing the 10 virtues and abandoning the 10 non-virtues. And pure morality is the basis of all realizations. Why is pure morality so important? Because pure morality, or the practice of the 10 virtues, is the basis of happy rebirths in higher states, as well as attainments of liberation and enlightenment, which constitute definite goodness. And even the bodhisattvas who practice on the higher ground, 10 grounds, is dependent on the foundation of pure morality. It is therefore good to practice and brings an enormous amount of benefit. As Chandrakirti said, engaging in the middle way, for common beings, those born from the word, those set towards solitary enlightenment and conqueror children, the cause of definite goodness of higher status is none other than morality. So looking at the time, we've got about 5 more minutes so we can just skim through the rest. There are, if you want to look further, the results of virtue, like beauty. Beauty comes from practicing patience. Higher status comes from abandoning pride. Wealth comes from generosity. Influential speech, of course, comes from having a pure speech, etc., etc. So when we look at our karma, we have a get out of jail card, basically. We have a way of fixing all the things that we've done in this life, all the imprints that we've created, plus the imprints that we've created in past lives. Now you may say, how do I do that? I don't even remember all the imprints that I've done in past lives. Well, you don't and you can't, but you can imagine, and we'll do a meditation on that very soon. Imagine that you could have, if you in fact subscribe to rebirth and past lives. But it does give you the answers to why, if putting so much effort into something, they're not getting the results. It puts that logic and gives you that why. So, in the 4 non-virtues, we practice things like regret is the first one. The power of the object. So you say that I really do wish to fix what I've done, or I regret what I've done. And taking refuge in and generating bodhicitta is one of the most powerful purifiers. Because the thing is, when you really look at bodhicitta, when you look at yourself, we don't really want to harm people, do we? There are some that do in this world, but I don't see any evidence from the people, majority of 7.8 billion people on this planet, that they deliberately want to cause harm. So if you are committed to not harming anyone, then the thought of harming somebody in a future life, because you didn't look at yourself deeply and make changes, becomes unbearable. Totally unbearable. The power of regret we've spoken of, the power of opponent force. So if you've harmed somebody through harsh speech, you do the opposite. You do what you can with the opposite. And for example, if you're in a supermarket and there's a long line, or you're waiting at a football and you have to wait, just say for an hour, then you apply patience, calmness, and just be present and not act. That's the opposite. So if you've caused the imprint, you'll do the opposite to generate merit for patience and develop the imprint. The power of commitment, you may say, okay, for today, do what you're capable of. Okay, today I'm not going to gossip. I'm just going to be careful because, as you know, in reality, sometimes when you really like people and you engage it, you want to get on at work. If they're bagging or gossiping about somebody else, because you like them, you want to engage in it, but that engagement comes at a cost when you agree with them. You may not be actually saying the words, but it's a very subtle imprint that may cause gossiping in the future. So I think everyone has their own journey. Everyone knows the people they work with. Develop a plan, a strategy. And we've all had them, and we've all gossiped in respect to just getting on and being part of the team. But there is a way, a very skillful way, that you can negotiate that and do the opposite. So what we're going to do now is a meditation. Pretty much covered karma, and thank you for everyone online and also here in the temple for keeping with it. Karma is a very deep and profound subject, and it can be taught for years and years and years and years in monastic institutions. The monks study it for a long time, and one of the most important things is meditating on karma too. Meditating on peace, patience, tranquility, not harming others. So we are going to do a meditation. Before we do the meditation, there is a one-day retreat next Saturday, and it's run by Tim McCubbin. Tim I think, is an amazing teacher, and the theme is kindness. Let it shine. So it's beautiful, and it's a day where you start, I think, at about 9ish. It's on the website, and you have enough breaks so you have that ability to reflect on what you've been taught, and of course socialize and talk to people in the temple and walk around the garden. So that's next Saturday, the 20th. And so please keep that in mind, that doing it. So we're going to do a meditation now. It's going to be around about a 15-20 minute one. So it's important, if you have to rush off to the around the corner, please do. And it's just find yourself in a comfortable position where you're relaxed and comfortable. Remember, don't put any pressure on your body. Move if you need to. If you're cold, get a blanket. There are plenty of blankets out there. And for anyone that's viewing this online and is not well, bad back or in hospital, you take the pillow from your head, cover your body. You may wish to put your arms around your body, palms upright. In meditation, we generally put the right hand above the left, and we put the two thumbs together down in our navel, because it actually helps the breathing, and it helps to keep one alert and helps you from sagging and falling asleep. And the symbol is wisdom holding compassion, or compassion holding wisdom. All right. And in meditation, you'll find that for those that do it each day, even for 5 minutes, it's a wonderful way to develop virtuous behavior and a calmness and an awareness that no matter what's going on around, you're still very grounded. So that's the purpose of meditation. And you may find that for those that do it often, that your body starts to go into its natural position without restriction. Everything just falls into place. With just the thought of meditation, your body starts to get ready. But for those that are learning, we always start with the body scan to find the places that may draw our attention through pain and tightness. So you may wish to close your eyes if you're more comfortable, or leave them half opened, looking down, but still with the head and neck that is upright. In this meditation, calm the body and mind to allow for purification and developing and generating an energy, a power of caring for self and others, a limitless power, a gentle power. So we start gently from the head down, releasing any tightness and tension, the back of the neck, forehead, eyes, ears, facial muscles, jaw, shoulders down to the arms, hands, back, tummy, legs, ankles and feet. Just settle naturally. Be without restriction. And you will notice, you will know a harmony, a rhythm, a subtle energy moving, a happiness moving gently through the breath within your body. You may feel your eyes softening, your hands soft, facial muscles, and the calmness within consciousness. Consciousness within your body, a consciousness around your body, a wide and knowing consciousness. Breathing in and out. Releasing doubt. And with the breath, just feel the falling and rising of the breath. Allow the calmness of the breath to permeate outward, inward, outward. within every cell in your body, a light body. Gently breathe in and out. Relax. Release any worries or tension. Can you feel the light within you? A brilliant, powerful light. It's a warm light. A light that eliminates darkness. And within the light, around you, within, outward, the light reflects on an image of the Buddha, a Buddha appearing in front of you, not too high, not too low. And surrounding the Buddha is the field of merit of all the gurus, bodhisattvas, dharma protectors and guardians, all there, smiling, looking down, around, but looking at you. These holy beings are those that have helped you, are helping you, and will help you. And surrounding them are the Buddha's scriptures and teachings, holy teachings, anything that you want them to be, if not Buddhist. You see the light shining from these teachings. You see the colors of the field of merit in front of you. You feel the warmth of their smile. And from the heart of the Buddha radiates multicolored light like a rainbow. The gentleness, and that multicolored light then touches your heart. And your body fills with all the colored lights. The lights light every cell in your body. Pervade your consciousness, that it now too becomes light, light-natured. And within the radiance of the light, you become transparent. where you neither see the contours of your body or the contours of the mind. And this transparency enables change. And the light from the Buddha continues, nourishing the light into your heart, into your consciousness. Just hold that thought. Imagine what it would be like just to be light. And where is the self? And your consciousness expands further outward. And the consciousness becomes clear and clearer. Clearer and clearer, aware, aware of others, aware. Aware where it goes. But it neither comes nor goes. It's just there, here. And in a moment, a second, a fraction, aware of past lives, either as a string behind you or from left to right, right to left, extending the light, regret, slowly, slowly, all lives purified. And the consciousness becomes more brilliant, pure, knowing, expansive, unrestricted. Knowing every movement before it occurs. Knowing what to say before the words are spoken. Knowing how a touch can heal before someone's wounded. Just as you act, you speak. Just as you speak, you act. Pure mind, pure morality. You feel the strength in calmness. And the knowing in silence. Feel that brilliance of the light, that awareness slowly now moving closer back to you. And the Buddha's blessings within your heart as the Buddha in the field of merit now slowly dissolve. But before the Buddha dissolves in the field of merit in your heart, you say from the depths of your existence, may all living beings have happiness and all causes of happiness. May all living beings be free from suffering and all causes of suffering. May all living beings never be separated from joy. And may all living beings abide in equanimity, free of attachment to some and aversion to others. With that, enormous merit is generated. And any imprints in your consciousness dissolved, vanished, cleaned, no longer exist by its own side. Part of you, that clarity and purity. So bring now the mind back to yourself. Allow the images, release the images. You feel the room, the temperature, the seat, the sounds outside. You feel your breath. Become aware of others in the room. So when the mind is back to the breath, when you're ready, you may open your eyes. Thank you, everyone. It's just after 3. And so if you have any questions. Mm-hmm.
You say that karma and just imprint will not be removed until that has that condition to make it enlightened.
Sorry, the karma has an imprint, is that right?
Imprint on your mind.
In the consciousness, yes, which is not restricted to the brain, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Until it ripens.
Yep.
Yeah. But the purification process of the power of the object, the power of the power of opponents, the power of commitment, does that not take the imprint away?
So the question was the purification process with an imprint.
Yeah.
What was the next thing? Sorry.
Will the imprint will be removed by the purification process or not?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry.
The purification process.
Yes.
Will that remove the imprint?
Yes, it does. Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
It's the power. It's the motivation. It certainly does. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And sorry, I couldn't hear you. I'm just a bit.
All good.
It's yep. Yes.
Chris asked a question regarding killing.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What approach would a Buddhist take if one of the children has head lice?
Head lice. Yes. That was a question I asked as well. So very good question. Yeah, so that's an online question. The question is, what do for a Buddhist do when a child has head lice? And a question I asked myself when I came here, and I said that you look at the effects of to that child of allowing those lice to what they do and the harm they do to the body, and also to other children. So it is what you do, what the nun advised me here, to do the practice for the lice and wish them a higher rebirth, and then do the chemical, and then when you get the lice, just bury them in the soil if you can, and then say prayers for them, because the cost of allowing that and the harm it does to other children and that child is another imprint. So there's that balance. I hope that answers the question. Mm-hmm.
I have one more, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
Rebirth, does it only happen on this planet or can it happen anywhere?
And this is in my hearing. After meditation, my hearing is.
Does rebirth, reincarnation,
Yep.
does it only happen on this planet?
No. It actually, I didn't bring it in because in Buddhist cosmology, you have many places, the worlds of 10 directions and different universes and different realms as well. Like we're in a particular realm where we're in the desire realm, but we have our universal cosmology is that we have the sky that's blue. In other areas, parts of the universe, the sky is green. Next week we're doing the really light, the liberation and nirvana, and so that'll be quite a good class to study for and enjoy. Any other questions? So I think we have tea and cake in the thing. Thank you very much for your patience, every one of you. It's one of the hardest subjects in the karma, and I congratulate you for bearing with it, and lovely to see you. So good wishes for you all. May everything that may you have good conditions and happiness. And you can go.
to